Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here, and welcome back to another Star Wars Sunday. Today we are continuing our journey into the Legends timeline with the Lando Calrissian Adventures Trilogy, Book 3. Lando Calrissian and the StarCave of ThonBoka. It takes place in 3 BBY, which is the same year as our current location in the canon timeline with Rebels Season 2. This book is by L. Neil Smith, and the whole trilogy cost $9. Chapter 1, Lehesu and Oswaft. A hyperspace-traveling large manta ray is fed by items released from the Millennium Falcon. Chapter 2, StarCave is the translation of ThonBoka. So I don't really understand how it's the StarCave of ThonBoka when it's StarCave of StarCave. But that's fine. Months after their first interaction, the Millennium Falcon has returned to the ThonBoka to assist the Oswaft, as they are under Imperial attack. Chapter 3, Klin Shanga and Roker Gepta have allied themselves to trap and kill Lando Calrissian and Vufi Ra at ThonBoka. Chapter 4, After days with Lehesu in their original meeting, Lando, Vufi Ra were able to speak with and share images with Lehesu. Upon their return to the ThonBoka, the Millennium Falcon is greeted by an Imperial blockade. Chapter 5, Lando has boarded the Imperial cruiser Respectable, pretending to be a trader of cigars, cigarettes, and chocolates. Lando seems to be successfully bribing the warrant officer with his cigar collection, even getting him to agree to a game of sabacc. Lando went through a handful of ships, selling cigars and playing sabacc until they were to the other side of the blockade, and they punched it into the ThonBoka Nebula, utilizing a projection to make it seem like the Millennium Falcon was destroyed. Chapter 6. One of Gepta's scouts saw the Millennium Falcon's destruction and reported back. He has likely been killed and fed to one of Gepta's pets for delivering bad news. Chapter 7. In Lehesu's travels after meeting Lando, he began encountering the Imperial Navy, accidentally destroying 3 fighters when they became hostile. In the next sector, where the Empire was on guard, Lehesu was responsible for 43 Imperial casualties before deciding to return home, where the Empire traced and followed Lehesu, finding a whole civilization within the nebula. Chapter 8, Osunu Wet, the Anthropologist from the first book that Lando won Vufi Ra off of, is assisting Gepta and Shanga. He is educating them on the Oswaft. Chapter 9, the Millennium Falcon has rendezvoused with Lehesu within ThonBoka. 2 larger Oswaft have confronted Lehesu, Lando, and Vufi Ra, wanting them to talk with the elders of the Oswaft. Chapter 10, Lando has taught senior elder of the Oswaft, Senwanis Gorkahipif, sabacc. Lehesu and the second elder, Fatihana Soroaf, are also involved in the game of sabacc. The third elder, Bagi Hal Sahonus, has gone to attempt to negotiate with the Imperial Navy. Lando told Sen and Faye that was a bad plan. The elders did agree, but their society was built around freedom of choice, especially for elders. The Empire, with no want to negotiate, fired upon Bagi and the 1,000 Oswaft that accompanied her. They all died, but they exploded the closest cruiser to the nebula in the short fight. The Imperial Navy, knowing the Oswaft have some kind of weaponry, has entered the nebula, no longer wanting to blockade and starve, but eliminate. Chapter 11, Burn Nuladag, one of Shanga's militia, has been put into a cell by Gepta after attempting to steal a fighter with lightspeed capabilities. Shanga talked Gepta out of executing Burn, who has ordered the Imperial fleet to pull back off their attack from the Oswaft. Chapter 12, Anthropologist and Imperial spy, Wet, drastically changed his appearance, including height by surgery, weight, hair color, and style, after the events on Renatasia. In the first book of this trilogy, Gepta had ordered Wet to lose Vufi Ra to Lando. Chapter 13. Lehesu reported to Lando that the Wennis, Gepta's ship, was on the way, and the reason the fleet pulled back. Lando has come up with a plan to have the fleet destroy themselves when they try to attack the Oswaft again. Chapter 14, the Renatasian Militia has entered the ThonBoka. Wet has been ordered by someone else to spy on Gepta, who we actually never find out who, so that's kind of annoying. Chapter 15. 3 captains in the blockade have disagreed with Gepta's orders. He orders them to be sent out the airlock with their second in command. The third in command will now be the captain. Through his observations, Wet believes Gepta has the ability to dematerialize. Chapter 16. Lando, Fufi Ra, who has gotten over his pacifist programming, and Lahesu defeat many of the Renatasian militia. At least 1 million of the Oswaft have decided to ignore Lando's plan and attack the blockade while he fends off the Renatasians. The Oswaft used Lando's deceptive tactics just more aggressively than he had planned. This caused the fleet to fire upon their own ships. 11% of the fleet was damaged or destroyed when the fleet stopped firing. The Millennium Falcon joins the Oswaft against the fleet. Gepta orders the fleet to stop firing and calls Lando, showing off his ability to unleash a bioweapon that kills all life. He has offered Lando a duel to the death. If Lando wins, the fleet will depart and the Oswaft will live. If Gepta wins, the entire ThonBoka will have no life. Chapter 17. Gepta, believing he still has programming control over Fufi Ra, who he still believes cannot fight, has been allowed to join Lando in the fight to the death. Gepta has instructed his captain to destroy all life in the nebula, even if he loses the duel. The duel takes place in the void, surrounded by the fleet, Renatasians and Oswaft. When the Renatasians see Fufi Ra fight, they realize he truly is a droid. Shanga recognizes Wet as the true destroyer of his world. The Renatasians kill him and destroy the Wennis. In the chaos, Lando shoots Gepta's foot, which is where his true form, a snail, is located. The rest of his form is a camouflage. Fufi Ra is knocked out in the duel. Once Gepta was killed, the fleet began firing on the Oswaft. The one, the other, and the rest, whatever they are, have arrived in the ThonBoka. They are incredibly massive, much larger than the biggest ships in the fleet and much bigger than the Oswaft. They were easily able to explode a fleet ship that disobeyed their instruction to stop firing. They reveal Fufi Ra is one of their sons. Chapter 18. These new droids are ancient, created by a people long since wiped out when their species was killed off by a star-going supernova. Fufi Ra has been restored. Lando has been paid in large amounts of gemstones, enough to buy a city. This was payment from the Oswaft for saving their species. He wants to stop his wandering. I think he will now head to Bespin. Lando and Fufi Ra go their separate ways. That is all that there is in the trilogy. This was a better book than the second book, but the conclusion to Gepta was underwhelming, and he was made a significantly less interesting character by becoming a snail. Fufi Ra's backstory is kinda odd. Ancient, ship-sized robots. And the trilogy that was already not my favorite was made kind of worse by how everything was concluded, and Wet, we never get to know who was controlling him all along. If you have any thoughts on the Lando Calrissian trilogy, especially the StarCave of ThonBoka, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.